There comes a point when your home stops feeling like a place you live in and starts feeling like a storage unit with emotional lighting. Drawers become museums of forgotten intentions. Chairs become temporary wardrobes, which is a very polite way of saying fabric avalanches with legs. Cupboards become small archaeological sites, and somewhere in the back of a closet, there is a box you have moved through 3 different homes without ever opening, because apparently cardboard can develop diplomatic immunity. Most people think cleaning is about objects, but it is rarely just about objects. It is about memory, guilt, identity, fear, control, grief, hope, the version of yourself you were, the version you plan to become, the version who bought those expensive notebooks because this time, obviously, life would become organized by Thursday. A cluttered space is not a moral failure, but it is often a visible map of invisible things. Things postponed, things avoided, things outgrown, things kept because letting go would make something final. Across cultures, people have developed different ways of dealing with this strange relationship between objects and the soul. Swedish Death Cleaning, Japanese cleaning, Minimalism, Monastic Simplicity, Feng Shui, the one-touch rule, the capsule wardrobe, the Sunday reset. Each method has its own language. But underneath them all is the same question: what kind of life are you making room for? Because organizing is not really about having a perfect home. A perfect home is usually either a showroom, a crime scene, or owned by someone who has hidden everything in one terrifying drawer. The real goal is simpler: to live in a space that does not constantly ask something from you. A space that helps you breathe, a space where your attention is not being quietly eaten by piles, surfaces, unfinished tasks, and the silent accusations of laundry. So here are 7 organizing traditions and methods that can help simplify your life, not by turning you into a minimalist monk with 3 shirts and a suspiciously empty kitchen, but by helping you decide what deserves to stay. Swedish Death Cleaning, or Döstädning, sounds dramatic. And to be fair, it does enter the room wearing black. But the idea is surprisingly tender. It asks you to organize your belongings before death, so the people you love are not left to sort through every drawer, paper, broken charger, chipped mug, mystery key, and sentimental object you are too overwhelmed to face. At first, this can sound morbid, but it is actually one of the most honest organizing philosophies. It does not ask, does this spark joy? It asks, will anyone want to deal with this when I am gone? A slightly harsher question, yes, but often a useful one. Swedish death cleaning is not about pretending you are about to die tomorrow. It is about remembering that everything you own is eventually inherited by someone. Your children, your partner, your friends, your relatives, or, most likely, one exhausted person with trash bags and a haunted expression. This method cuts through fantasy. It asks you to look at your belongings from the perspective of legacy, not impulse. What tells the story of your life? What would be meaningful to someone else? What is private and should be handled by you? What is simply burden disguised as memory? There is a quiet generosity in this. You are not only simplifying your own life, you are reducing future emotional labor for people you love. To practice Swedish death cleaning, start with low-emotion items, clothes you never wear, old paperwork, duplicate kitchen items, expired products, random electronics. Do not begin with photographs of your grandmother unless you are trying to destroy the afternoon. Work slowly. Ask, would someone need this? Would someone understand this? Would this comfort them or confuse them? Would I want someone else to carry this decision for me? Swedish death cleaning reminds us that objects do not become sacred just because we avoid them. Sometimes love means keeping less. Sometimes care means leaving behind clarity. Japanese cleaning traditions often carry a different emotional texture. Cleaning is not only a chore, it can be a ritual of respect. Respect for the space, respect for the objects, respect for the people who share the home. Respect for the mind that has to live inside the atmosphere you create. In many Japanese homes, there is an emphasis on removing shoes at the entrance, maintaining clean thresholds, keeping spaces orderly, and treating the home as something that should be entered with awareness. The entrance matters. The transition matters. You do not drag the entire outside world across the floor and then wonder why the house feels like a bus station with cushions. This philosophy is powerful because it treats cleaning as a daily relationship, not a desperate monthly exorcism. A little care, repeated often, a reset before things collapse, a respect for small actions. There is also the tradition of usuji, often practiced near the end of the year. A deep cleaning meant to clear away the dust, dirt, and emotional residue of the old year before entering the new one. This is not just cleaning for hygiene. It is symbolic. You remove what has accumulated. You close a chapter. You make space for renewal. The psychological value is obvious. Human beings need rituals of transition. Without them, life becomes one long pile of unfinished tabs. Japanese cleaning reminds us that the outer environment shapes the inner one. A clear entrance, a clear table, a clear floor, a clear beginning. To use this method, choose one daily reset ritual. Clear the entryway. Wipe the kitchen before bed. Put things back where they belong. Open a window in the morning. Make one surface empty. Not the whole house. One surface. The Japanese spirit of cleaning is not about dramatic transformation. It is about repeated respect. The house becomes peaceful not through one heroic cleaning day, but through small acts of care that tell the mind, this place is being tended. And maybe so are you. Marie Kondo's method became famous for one question. Does it spark joy? And like many simple questions, it has been repeated so often that people forget how useful it actually is. The point is not to own only cheerful objects. If your tax documents do not spark joy, that does not mean you should throw them into the sea and become legally interpretive. The deeper idea is to stop organizing around guilt. Most people keep things because they feel they should. I should wear this. I should use this. I should become the sort of person who owns this. I should keep this because someone gave it to me. I should hold on to it because it was expensive. I should save it in case a mysterious future version of me suddenly develops a passion for fondue, rock climbing, or formal stationery. The KonMari Method asks you to shift the center. Instead of asking what you should keep, ask what still belongs. What supports the life you're actually living? What brings beauty, usefulness, comfort, or genuine meaning? What feels like a yes in the body? The method also organizes by category rather than room. Clothes first, books, papers, miscellaneous items. Sentimental things last. This order matters because it trains your decision-making muscle before you reach the emotional explosives. You begin with shirts. You do not begin with letters from your childhood. That is wise. To practice this method, gather one category together. All your clothes, for example. Seeing the total amount matters. One sweater looks innocent. 37 sweaters begin explaining themselves less convincingly. Hold each item. Notice your reaction. Keep what feels aligned with your current life. Thank what you release. That last part may sound theatrical, but it serves a purpose. Gratitude softens guilt. It lets the object finish its role. The KonMari Method is not about owning less for the sake of owning less. It is about living among things that still have a relationship with you. Minimalism is probably the most misunderstood organizing style. People imagine white rooms, one wooden chair, 3 identical shirts, and a kitchen containing a single bowl placed with spiritual aggression. But real minimalism is not an aesthetic. It is a boundary. It asks, how much is enough? What do I actually use? What do I want to maintain? What am I paying for with my attention? Because every object has a cost beyond money. It must be stored, cleaned, moved, remembered, protected, managed, looked at, and sometimes emotionally negotiated with at 11 p.m. when you're trying to find batteries. Minimalism is not about deprivation. It is about reducing the number of things that silently own pieces of your mind. A minimalist approach can be especially helpful in a culture that constantly sells identity through consumption. Buy this and become organized. Buy this and become beautiful. Buy this and become creative. Buy this and become the kind of person who wakes up early and makes soup from vegetables that still have dirt on them. But buying the identity is not the same as living it. Minimalism asks you to separate desire from clutter. To use this method, try the less but better rule. Instead of owning 10 mediocre things, keep the one you actually love and use. Instead of organizing 20 items you resent, reduce the category. Instead of buying storage, first reduce what needs storing. Storage can be helpful, but sometimes storage is just clutter wearing a uniform. Minimalism is not for everyone in its extreme form. A home should not feel like a showroom for emotional frostbite. But its principle is powerful. Do not let your life become crowded with things you never consciously chose. Feng Shui is an ancient Chinese practice concerned with how space affects energy, harmony, and well-being. Some people take it very spiritually. Others use it practically. Either way, its organizing value is clear. Your environment changes how you feel. A blocked doorway feels different from an open one. A bed buried in clutter feels different from a calm resting place. A desk facing chaos feels different from a desk that invites focus. A hallway filled with shoes, boxes, umbrellas, and regret does not exactly whisper, "Welcome to peace." Feng Shui pays attention to flow. Can you move easily through the space? Can air and light circulate? Do objects support the purpose of the room? Does the room feel heavy, stagnant, confused? You do not need to become an expert in energy maps to benefit from this. Start with the obvious. Clear pathways, open windows, remove broken items, fix what irritates you daily. Create a calm bedroom. Make the entrance welcoming. Let each room have a purpose. A home with confused spaces creates a confused mind. When the dining table is also the office, laundry station, unopened mail archive, craft table, and emotional support dumping ground, the brain receives mixed instructions. Eat, work, fold, panic. Feng Shui reminds us that space speaks, and sometimes your home has been speaking in all caps. To practice this method, choose one area where energy feels blocked. An entrance, a desk, a bedroom corner, a hallway. Clear it, open it, let it breathe. You're not only moving objects, you are restoring movement. Monastic traditions across the world have long understood something modern life keeps forgetting. A distracted environment creates a distracted mind. Monks and nuns often live with fewer possessions, not because objects are evil, but because too many attachments can scatter attention. The point is not emptiness. The point is devotion. What is your life devoted to? What supports prayer, reflection, study, service, work, rest, beauty, or community? What pulls you away from those things? Monastic simplicity is not the same as minimalism. Minimalism often asks, how little can I own? Monastic Simplicity asks, what helps me live rightly? That is a deeper question, because some people need books, some need tools, some need art. Some need a kitchen full of spices because apparently joy sometimes comes in small glass jars. The question is not whether an object is visually minimal. The question is whether it serves your values. To practice this method, choose one room and ask, what is this room for? Rest, conversation, study, cooking, creation. Then remove what does not belong to that purpose. A bedroom should not feel like an office with a mattress and witness protection. A study should not feel like a storage closet with intellectual aspirations. A kitchen should not require an expedition team to locate a spoon. Monastic Simplicity gives each space a moral clarity. This is what this room is for. This is what this life is for. And the unnecessary begins to look less tempting. Not every organizing method needs to be ancient or philosophical. Sometimes you just need a Sunday reset. The Sunday reset is a simple, modern ritual. A weekly cleaning and preparation routine that helps you begin the next week with less chaos. Laundry, dishes, trash, meal prep, calendar check, clearing surfaces, changing sheets, planning priorities, putting the house back into conversation with itself. This method is less poetic than Swedish Death Cleaning or Feng Shui, but extremely useful, because most homes do not fall apart in one dramatic event. They decay through tiny postponements. The cup left out, the email ignored. The laundry moved from bed to bed again, performing its ancient migration. The Sunday reset stops the slow accumulation before it becomes emotional weather. But the trick is to keep it humane. A Sunday reset should not become a punishment ritual where you try to compensate for an entire personality. Choose a few anchors: laundry, kitchen, bedroom, calendar. 1 hour or 2. Music if you like. No moral panic. No attempt to become a completely new person by Monday morning. Just a gentle reset. A way of saying, the week may be uncertain, but I can prepare the ground. This is why the Sunday reset works psychologically. It gives the nervous system a sense of order. Not control over everything, just enough order to breathe. There is a special category of cleaning that is not cleaning at all. It is relocating guilt. You move the pile from the table to the chair, from the chair to the bedroom, from the bedroom to a basket, from the basket to a closet. And then one day you open the closet and discover that your past self has set a trap. The one-touch rule is meant to stop this. The idea is simple. When possible, handle an item once. If it is trash, throw it away. If it belongs somewhere, put it there. If it requires action, place it in a clear action spot. Do not create endless transitional habitats for clutter. Paperwork is especially guilty here. Mail, receipts, forms, documents, things that arrive looking important and then spend 6 months becoming decorative anxiety. The one-touch rule is not always possible. Life is not a military operation, despite what certain productivity influencers seem to believe. But as a principle, it is powerful. It interrupts the habit of postponing decisions. Because clutter is often delayed decision-making. Every pile says, I did not know what to do with this, so I made the table responsible. To practice this, create 3 clear homes. Trash. Home. Action. When something enters your space, ask which one it belongs to. This small habit can prevent your home from becoming a museum of unfinished micro-decisions. The capsule wardrobe is a method of keeping a smaller number of versatile clothes that work well together, but the principle can apply beyond clothes. Capsule living means reducing unnecessary choices in repeated areas of life. Clothes, meals, cleaning supplies, morning routines, work tools, beauty products, exercise equipment. The modern person is drowning in options, and options, while lovely in theory, are exhausting in excess. A wardrobe full of clothes can make getting dressed harder, not easier. A kitchen full of gadgets can make cooking feel more complicated. A bathroom full of products can turn basic hygiene into a small corporate inventory problem. Capsule Living asks, what do I actually use regularly? What works together? What reduces friction? What helps me live instead of decide endlessly? For clothing, this may mean keeping pieces in a limited palette. For food, it may mean having a few reliable meals. For cleaning, it may mean using fewer products. For work, it may mean simplifying tools and systems. The goal is not boredom. The goal is ease. A simplified life still has beauty. It simply has fewer unnecessary negotiations. Every organizing method has its own personality. Swedish Death Cleaning asks what burden you want to leave behind. Japanese cleaning asks how to respect the space every day. KonMari asks what still belongs in your life. Minimalism asks how much is enough. Feng Shui asks where energy is blocked. Monastic Simplicity asks what your life is devoted to. The Sunday Reset asks how to begin again, gently. The One-Touch Rule asks what decision you are avoiding. Capsule Living asks how many choices you truly need. Different methods, same deeper movement. To simplify your life is not to erase yourself. It is to remove what no longer serves the life you are trying to build, to clear the excess, to honor the useful, to release the finished, to make room for rest, attention, beauty, and peace. Because the home is not just a container for objects, it is a training ground for the mind. Every day, your space teaches you something. It teaches urgency or calm, avoidance or care, excess or enough, confusion or clarity. And maybe organizing begins with a simple question: what is my home asking from me? And what do I want it to give back? If this video helped you think differently about your space, subscribe to Atlas of Becoming. This channel is a quiet place for essays on psychology, slow living, attention, modern life, emotional patterns, and the art of becoming less overwhelmed by what you carry.